Hey, and welcome back to another episode of the Inside Lines podcast. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson.
And I am Tia Averill.
Coming up a bit later in the show, we'll be chatting with journalist and founder of HighlightHER, Arielle Chambers. We'll also be getting into our hot take this week, where we'll be discussing former, or better yet, forever, First Lady Michelle Obama and her take on marriage. But first, Tia, the holidays are here. Are you ready?
Girl, no. Okay. Look, I want to start off by saying this is usually like, this is my holiday. This is my time to shine. And I don't feel like I'm shining. So, like.
Oh, it's coming together, though. It's coming together.
It is. You know, and it ain't even like, oh, it's just like, I just feel like this year is just so much going on.
Yeah.
That it just didn't leave time for me to be extra like I normally am. So we gonna have a nice little Christmas. The kids will still have their traditional stuff, but I still need to finish shopping. So maybe Wednesday I'll be done.
Ooh,
how about you, Toya?
You know, it's my time to shine too. I love the holidays. I love them. Yes, I've been shopping for a while. I kind of OD during the holidays, but it's just something that makes me happy. And so I love to like pass that on to the fam. So we got a lot of fun stuff planned. It should be good.
You guys are traveling for Christmas?
We are, for the first time ever. I've always been like home for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for all the holidays. But for this year, for the first time, we will be traveling, and it's kind of weird, but I mean, we'll see how it goes.
I do want to start this tradition of like always being gone for Christmas and like just getting a new passport stamp somewhere. Okay. Like, let's do it. But
yeah, it's a nice time off. Like, I feel like it is. Your kids get so much time off from school. For us, we're just doing it
2.5 weeks. Y'all don't go back to the 4th, right?
Yeah, well, we're still in school. We're in school till Friday.
Oh.
Yes. So.
See, that's lovely.
Yeah, we're still in school till Friday, and then we go back right after the New Year's. But so that's kind of why we've never traveled. And my boys have basketball all the time. So, but this year is my son's last year. It's his senior year. And we're like, you know what? We're going to do this. And it is what it is. We're not going to worry about the repercussions. So
right.
We're excited. It should be something different.
Yes.
Okay.
Love it.
Enough about that. Let's get into this week's hot take. It's time for this week's hot take. Tia, what we got?
Okay, so this week in hot takes, we are discussing the former, let me correct myself, forever First Lady Michelle Obama. So most of you all know, but Michelle is on her book tour for her new book, The Light We Carry. And she's doing media tours and things of that nature, but on a recent special that she did with Revolt, entitled Revolt by Michelle Obama, which came out on the 14th, she had a lot to say about marriage.
People think I'm being catty by saying this. It's like there were 10 years when I couldn't stand my husband. Yeah. You know?
do say that. You
10 long years. And guess when it happened? When those kids were little, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because, you can be all great individually when you're just married. You got your life, he's got his, you come together. Right. But the minute we had kids, it was like, where are you going? And how far? And you start measuring, it's like, how many diapers did you change? And, you're golfing? Yeah. You got time to golf? And for 10 years, while we're trying to build our careers and, worrying about school and who's doing what and what, I was like, this isn't even. No. And guess what? Marriage isn't 50-50. Yeah. Ever. There are times I'm 70, he's 30. There are times he's 60, 40. But guess what? 10 years, we've been married 30.
Wow.
I would take 10 bad years over 30. It's just how you look at it, right? And people give up.
Now, of course, when that clip came out, everybody had a lot to say. And even one Twitter user, she was vicious about it, but she said, it feels like Michelle Obama is on a personal mission to destroy the institution of marriage. She then goes on to say, nobody makes marriage sounds as unappealing as she does. She keeps sitting for these interviews and discussions, telling us how miserable long stretches of her life was with Barack as if it's cute and inspirational. But she makes it sound like servitude. So, Atoya, what did you think about Michelle's stance on the 50-50 conversation and then the Twitter users' comments? Okay. It didn't say.
Because it sounds like she's not married. I'm going to start there. Just by the way that she took it, it sounds like she's not married. Because I feel like if she understood, as she was in marriage, she was in a relationship or married, she would understand what Michelle was trying to say. Michelle was not trying to say she was miserable. Michelle was not trying to start a personal mission to destroy the institution of marriage. What she was trying to do is make young people understand and realize that it's not always rainbows and roses and happy-go-lucky and you live happily ever after when you get married. There are going to be some tough stretches. And there are going to be things that you may or may not disagree on. There are going to be times where women have to give up their career. Because let's be clear, at some point, somebody has to give up in order to truly take care of the kids and do what needs to be done for the house to work, right? So I think what she was trying to say was even moving through that, she didn't really understand that in the moments. That's why she had these moments of being mad at Barack or keeping score, because she felt like she was giving up so much of herself and he didn't have to. And that is a lot of women's real life issues, right? And I didn't feel like she made marriage seem unappealing. I felt like she was given the real, and she was letting women know that sometimes it's not going to be fair. Sometimes you're going to have to do a lot more than your significant other. And just be prepared for that and understand that it's not perfect. But she worked through that. She was able to come out on the other side. She's clearly not keeping score now. Her kids are older, and she had to work through those moments of probably she felt a little bit of resentment because she was at home changing diapers all the time, taking care of the kids all the time. Because to her point, when she talks about kids, and I felt this to my core, when you are working and you're communicating with other adults and you have your moments where you guys may disagree at work, or you talk to another coworker about that other person on your team that drives you crazy, whatever the case may be, you have the option of communicating with another adult. When you are at home with kids, when they're little, you don't have that option. They don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know what they're talking about. So I understood what she was saying, because I'm in a marriage. I've went through those stages, and I understand that it is hard. It's not perfect, but you do come out on the other side if you just keep working at it and you both stay committed to the marriage. So that's my take. What about you, Tia? What did you think?
Okay, so my take is kind of twofold, right? Yes, when Michelle started talking, when she was speaking about it, I was glad that somebody who people look at their marriage and they revere it, right? Like they're like, oh, they are couple goals, right? Yeah. But for her to just be transparent with, to your point, everything ain't always been peaches and cream, I think that's important for people to see, because I do think that people kind of fairy tale, they make marriages like a fairy tale, like, oh, it's happily ever after, you don't struggle, which we talk about all the time. And I think that it's important that people completely understand that marriage, just like any other relationship, is two completely different people coming together. And those two different people, they grow, right? Yeah. Like they aren't the same, that they were when they met in college or high school or, whatever. And so you will have these challenges in marriage, right? Yeah. I think a greater message is more of a conversation about why, from Michelle, she felt that way, right? Because there is an expectation that it's women who have to put their foot on the brakes with their lives, their passion, their dreams, and things of that nature to take care of the kids. And meanwhile, the man can keep his foot on the gas pedal, and there's an understanding there, right? And I think that sometimes men don't fully grasp how difficult that is, right? Yep. And just society in general has this expectation on women that they have to do it. So Michelle speaking on it kind of allow for a greater conversation to be had, right? Because if now, if I was getting married, it would be a completely different conversation about career goals. How would we set ourselves up for success long term?
Yeah.
So just a greater conversation. I don't think the Twitter, like I don't agree with the Twitter user that she made it, sound like servitude or things of that nature. Because she did say she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't change a thing. She's happy. She's happy that she married him and things of that nature. But I think it's important that people grasp the concept of everything not being great the entire time, but really finding somebody that you care to fight with. And that's worth the fight.
And that you're working towards a greater goal with. Like these moments of being at home with the kids, they don't last forever. These moments of changing diapers and dealing with crying and staying up in the middle of the night, they don't last forever. And I understand when you're in the moment, you may not understand that, but it doesn't last forever. These moments of your husband saying, you know what, I need to go out on a date night because I'm tired of you being with the kids. Get a sitter. Like, I think that these things are real life issues, and it doesn't last forever.
But I think that in general goes beyond kids, right? Because even marriages with kids, they experience tough times. Like they experience the imbalance of, okay, well, we're relocating for you to pursue your career, or we're doing this for you to do that. Like there's an imbalance in marriage, whether you have kids or not. And like I said, just finding people that is worth the imbalance, worth the fight, and to your point that there won't always be gray days. The sun does come out.
Yeah, marry your best friend, y'all. Marry someone that you truly enjoy day in and day out. Even when you don't like them sometimes, you still enjoy them. You know what I'm saying? They might get on your last nerve, just like your brother and sister, because you're around them all the time. But you love them, you respect them, you go on date nights, you have fun together. If you're not having fun, that's not your best friend, okay? Because let me tell you, if you're having fun, you go back to those and you understand there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be tough times. And like Michelle said, it doesn't last forever. So I agree with her, and I understand what she was trying to say, and I'm glad that she's repainting the picture of it is not, you get married and it's a happy ending all the time. It's work, but it's worth it if you marry your best friend.
It is work, y'all.
Okay, that's it for this week's Hot Takes. Coming up next, our chat with Arielle Chambers. On the show today, we have a multimedia journalist, host, and women's sports and culture amplifier based here in New York City. She utilizes storytelling to amplify the voices of women. She received her education from both the University of Oxford and North Carolina State University. She founded Bleacher Report women's platform, HighlightHER, and has grown it to the beginning to now over 200,000 Instagram followers and counting. Arielle Chambers, welcome to the show. How are you?
I feel like a horn should have come like, bah, 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 bah. That was a great intro.
We are so honored to have you on the show.
Absolutely. I'm just glad that I get to talk to my sisters for the next few, minutes, hours, whatever, however long this lasts.
Yes. We're excited as well. And there's so much to talk about. Like, first of all, I just like to start off by saying thank you. And I'm going to explain that to the listeners because they're like, thank you. Okay, so many people may not know, but when InsideLINES started, their second year, COVID broke out, so everything got shut down basically. So Tia and I were trying to scramble, figuring out what are we going to do for Super Bowl? We can't do a live show, so what are we going to do? So we decided for our second season to just do a virtual podcast, and we loved your platform, so reached out to you, and you agreed to partner with us. Didn't know us from nothing, but you agreed to partner with us, and you took a chance on us, and you streamed our episodes on IG Live, and they were saved to IGTV. And we just want to thank you for that, because when I tell you guys, highlight her is exactly what she did. She did that for us. So,
well, no, thank you for loving the platform and wanting to align yourself and your mission with us. That means a lot to us too.
Yeah, so just a little bit more background. As we are thinking of like themes for that Super Bowl season, we magically pulled the name Highlight Her up. Like, let's highlight her. We're going to highlight these women.
We highlight women.
Right? And then I think it was Atoya's like, let's see who else uses Highlight Her. And this platform, I'm like, This is exactly what we want to do.
Hilarious.
But we did not come up with that name, okay? Because she already
look at
said it.
alignment. That's what we call alignment.
Yes. And just to see how much you've grown even since then, like, oh my gosh, it's so inspiring and commendable. We just want to say, like, congratulations to all your success. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much. And that's what the whole point of HighlightHER is, right? It brings community together. It builds a sisterhood. And I think that's what we have right now.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all missing this. Okay, so let's talk about everything. First of all, let's talk about how you came up with this idea of HighlightHER.
So it's funny when people ask me that, because I was placed with this passion for women's sports on my heart, probably dating back to like 97. That's when I first fell in love with the women's game, the girls game, girls basketball, women's basketball, because I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina with Coach K. Yao, who was the head coach of NC State women's basketball.
That
right?
makes sense.
And so she has such a strong legacy, and you see a woman who's so powerful in the sports realm. This is a head coach before, women had the opportunity to really reach into the women's game. Because you got to realize that in the 90s, Title IX had only been around for 20 years. And so to know that there's a head coach in that space was so powerful.
Yeah.
And so after the games, I would talk to the players, and they were just so nice to me. And I remember this is back when the trading cards, we had the trading cards at the game. So I put the trading cards on my wall, the poster on my wall. And my sport was cheerleading and volleyball. And so it was just interesting how I was always so around basketball, but never really played it. But I quit cheerleading in high school to be the girls basketball manager. And I was also in the journalism. We had like little mini majors because I went to a magnet high school, and I chose journalism. So I would write stories about girls basketball and women's basketball, and just knowing that that could come into fruition as a career, I just knew that was where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in women's sports storytelling. And this whole idea of HighlightHER didn't come about as a tangible thing until I really poured into my passion. And the opportunity opened it up, that it presented itself to have like an actual, this is HighlightHER. And so it was named something completely different when I first began it, because, it's a collaborative effort between Bleacher Report and myself about how we're going to grow this thing, how we're going to start this thing. And I took it up for myself, like, hey, instead of this name, can we name it HighlightHER? So we switched the name, we rebranded it, and just popped off from there.
So did it always start on, like, the community began on Instagram?
It's always been an Instagram platform. It's funny because my personal accounts, the Ari Ivories of the world, I'm very Twitter heavy. And I would record my interviews with athletes on my phone and post them to Twitter and YouTube. And that's actually how Bleacher Report found me. They found me online talking to women athletes. So doing what I love doing.
Okay, so you are in the city now.
So I lived in Manhattan for 8 years, and then right at the beginning of the pandemic, I moved to Jersey, right by the NBA office, actually. It's like a 4-minute walk from me. But I see the city from my window, but I have enough space that my dog can run around.
I know, that's right. Well, before I had kids, I'm like, I want to live in a city, like just do a year and like do the whole New York thing. Now I got kids and stuff, and my son's like, can we do a summer in New York?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it would be fun for the kids. It's cute. It's cute. I mean, I did the whole New York thing, so I'm like, I don't need to do anything else in New York. I promise I don't. I've had enough.
I can go in there when I need to.
My entire 20s were in New York, and I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to go back there. That was a wild time.
So how did you get into, well, I guess you were already doing journalism in high school, but how did you get to school in the UK?
I like challenges. And it's funny because a lot of people avoid things that come with like a prestigious undertone because they fear it. And I'm like, hey, hell, if they don't want me, then I won't get in. But it just takes that step of applying. And so I was bored. I wasn't being that challenged educationally, and I was like, let me do a challenge, and I did it.
What'd your mom say?
She loves the fact that she can say her baby went to Oxford. That's the type of person my mom is. like forget everything else. She's just like happy that I was on. It was called Somerville College on the University of Oxford. So it was like an English in foreign affairs based campus. But yeah, she's just happy that she could say I went to Oxford. And I like to do things just to check them off too. I'm one of those that's like, what's the most outlandish thing that I can dream? Let's make it happen.
Oh,
I'm very much like that. And you'll see it in all of my actions. And I remember when I first started at Bleacher Report, and the resume I came in with, they were like, "Are you a ninja?" I was like, a little bit. Like, I never want to look back and be like, I wish I could have done this. Because like we can. It's all in the power of your tongue. It's all in the power of like your work ethic and manifestation. I just feel like anything that I write down will happen. And so,
I'm assuming that came from your mom.
My mom and my dad. So my mom was a very powerful woman. She's like very independent, strong woman. That's my mom. And then my dad is like the traveling artist. He's now a professor, but like he was like very much like, I have a band, I'm on tour. Like he's that kind. So between the powerful independent woman and the gypsy dad,
the free
like
spirit.
I don't know if it's yeah, free spirited dad. I'm like, I could do anything. I got the best traits of both of them in order to like have my dreams fulfilled. And I think that it's partly because I'm the only child that it really helped me be empowered to do whatever I wanted to do, because I didn't hear the word no very often. And when I did, I kind of rebelled against it. I was like, why not? Like, make it make sense why I can't.
Yeah.
And so I was never really like rebellious in my state of like I never went AWOL, but it's like whenever I dreamed up something, I'm like, why can't I do it? Kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I love that, because you think, which I know you've probably seen it in the in this field in general, but like a lot of women are like timid or like in some fit form or fashion kind of enter a space and dim their light, but it, even from just a little bit you just said, I'm like, okay, no, you are very confident and in a good way, you know what I mean? Because people could be arrogant, but that's not. I don't hear that.
No, I never approach anything with arrogance, because I know that can be taken away from you, right? So there needs to be a certain level of grace. But when we're invited into these spaces and we're invited to these rooms, they don't invite us there. Oh, first of all, it's hard to get there, and once you do get in there, what service are you doing to anyone and yourself to not voice exactly how you feel about something? So one of my mentors is Ebony K. Williams, and she's always been the one to like command the room. Ebony will be you. So you know Ebony, Miss Ebony will be like,
well, I don't know her. I don't know her.
Had us on together. You should have had us on together, because we are. Well,
let's do it. Listen, I can already tell.
But I've never seen her enter a room and not command the room. And she doesn't even have to say much, but it's just the confidence that she has in it. And then the fact that she is vocal and kind of goes against the grains that you think that she'll come with. You never expect that to come out of her mouth whenever she speaks. I'm like, girl. But, we're not inviting these places to just roll over. That's not, that does nobody any service. So that's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah,
that's so true. Because I think a lot of people too, they're just happy to be in the room, right? They stop there. I'm just happy to be in the room.
And I think about it is, what can I contribute that we don't have to keep punching air and breaking down these walls like that. I want to, we have the responsibility to break down these walls so people can walk through. It shouldn't be breakdown after breakdown generationally. It should be, hey, we did the beating, so that the next generation or our peers even can just gracefully walk through and not have to deal with that stress.
So I want to talk about this. You coined the phrase, the WNBA is so important. Why was that important for you to do?
It's not a big strategy. Sometimes the things are just what they are, right? So I was at a junior NBA camp with the Liberty. So junior NBA runs her time to play. So a lot of times we go into the girls basketball community, and that's the only thing that I'm involved with. But this was 2016, and Swin Cash was singing from Sister Act 2, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention.
Yes.
And the kids were singing. Yeah, it was a really cute moment. And I captured it on my phone, because the phones are such great tools of communicating. So I captured it on my phone and I posted it. I think it was on Facebook, actually. And I just wrote, the WNBA is so important, because that's what I felt at the time. I'm like, this is a really important moment that I don't know if these kids are going to know, and I don't know if Swin knows like how much this is going to change, because again, like I was telling Tia, when I went to those NC State women's basketball games and the players just talked to me, it changed the trajectory of my life because I wanted to pour into that because they poured into me. So that was a moment of importance. And then I would see players give fans shoes and players just be excellent on the court. And it was always the WNBA is so important because that's what I felt. It wasn't this big strategy of tackling the SEO of everything and keeping a phrase that was repetitive. It was, no, this is how I feel. So some things just magnify and amplify and grow because of how you feel about it. And you can just state exactly what it is and it will create traction on its own.
That's good. Listen, she's coming with it.
Period.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take, because we're talking about the WNBA, and it's always, or I guess the last few years, you hear it louder and louder, just like the voices of the WNBA players and their desire for equal pay. Now, of course, everybody received the misconception that they were saying, like, LeBron get paid this much, I get paid this much, like that. But Kelsey Plum, I don't know if you guys saw that interview. She was on the Residency pod here recently where she simply put, like, we didn't say we want equal pay in that light. We want equal structure, meaning shared revenue and things of that nature. Like, what do you think, even like the HighlightHER platform or just you in your career, like, what do you think can be done to like dispel all of these buzzwords and things that people have been using and running with to form this outlandish opinion on what people are requesting or what women are requesting in sports?
I think people in general shouldn't be so shocked when we do want equal pay, equal right, like equal everything. Obviously, we're talking about equitable right now because the business model doesn't lend itself to making the LeBron money. But why are people so against the idea of women wanting equality? And that's where we need to dismantle every bit of traditional thinking towards that. Because even if Kelsey didn't say that, if she did say, I want $10 million, I do want $100 million, why is everybody up in arms? So the root of that is where we need to start. Why do we feel like women should inherently want less? And then why are we appeased or comforted when they take it back and they're saying, no, just equitable? And granted, equity is really important, and she's right. They need the revenue split and the revenue sharing that the same structure that the men have, and that's what we're focusing on right now because it's just not logical to get that type of pay. But why is it so jarring to people
or outlandish
when women say we want all this money? And that's where I would say, like, even like forget what Kelsey said, forget what HighlightHER stands for, forget everything. Just the root of the issue is that people just feel like women inherently deserve less. And that is the problem.
It's true. I mean, think about it before Title IX. It started somewhere. You know,
it's wild.
I remember when I went to college and they had to basically dismantle men's sports, take away some men's sports in order for women's sports to equally exist. And that's just crazy to me. You know, they weren't thinking ahead like, oh, I'm going to have a daughter that may want to play sports one day too, because
that wasn't a women's place back then. And that's so sad.
It is so sad. It really is. And then you fast forward to 20 plus years later and here we are, tackling a different issue, but pretty much the same rights.
Yeah, it's the 50-year anniversary of Title IX as of June this year, and we still see how far we have to go. But I do want to acknowledge the progress it has been because now we have a generation that has grown up as the beneficiary of things being more equal. There's a generation like the Paige Beckers and Aaliyah Bostons and Zaya Cooks of the world who haven't had to live without a WNBA. WNBA's inception was 97. It was signed into play in 96 by David Stern. And I just now they don't know the discrepancies that we knew, and that's a privilege in itself. Now it's going to be more and more weird when you see people go against women's sports because it's like, why? And so it's hopefully this next wave of players, this next wave of kids can say, no, I belong here because I don't know an alternative. I don't know a space where I don't belong. So that's
true.
the goal.
Yeah, it's almost, honestly, it's almost the gift and the curse of this generation, because they, in one hand, they feel so entitled, and they was what do you mean I can't have? But on the other hand, they don't take no shit. Okay,
At all. Okay, a very vocal generation.
They putting everybody on blast. The mama, the daddies, everybody.
just cognizant of everything that they want, and they're steadfast in that.
Yes, listen. Okay, what do you think that people in general can do to be better advocates for women's sports? Like, I want to dive into your career and stuff more, but on this advocacy piece, what do you think people, like actionable items that people can do to better support women in sports?
Consume women's sports. It's just that easy. And a lot of times people push back saying, well, we don't know when this is being aired. We don't know. But whenever you don't know something, Google it.
It's
whenever you don't
out.
know something. Exactly. Even if you don't Google it, Twitter is right there. Go on the WNBA's page. If you don't know when the season is, ask somebody. There are only 12 cities that have teams right now. Hopefully expansion's on the horizon, and it is. But just figure out a way to consume it. If it's not in person, which I heavily suggest, then there are growing network deals with games. There's League Pass that's only $19.99 for the entire season. Just make sure you put the dollar amount behind it so you can show that the demand is there, because we want to prove to everybody that the cost of inaction is greater than the risk. We want to prove that like the demand is there, and so the supply needs to match it. And so if you say, I love women's sports, I want to support women's sports, but you don't watch the game, you don't go to games, you don't speak about your favorite women athletes, then how do you want it to grow? So I would challenge everybody to, and not just the WNBA, like, soccer wasn't my thing before. I mean, like, I'm still learning to love soccer, but I surely do go to NWSL games. I surely do, buy merch. I surely do tweet about it. And so I want to be a contributing factor in it growing, because I know that's important to somebody out there. And you see what can happen with investment in it, because you see how Angel City FC, they had several high profile investors, and they really put the money towards it, and it was sold out pretty much every single game. It was just such a great atmosphere that made people fall in love with it, even if you don't love soccer.
Speaking of soccer, like, I know you were over in the UK for a while, and I think about sports there versus the US. What do you see as like the biggest differences between sports in the UK versus here in the States?
Well, it's structurally different because they have a club style situation with their pro sports. So meaning, let's talk about when I was in Turkey, right?
Okay.
I went to visit my friend who played for Fenerbahce, and that is the Istanbul, but it's on the Asian side. And right there on the European side, there's Gala. And so Fener and Gala rivals, but you are born into a Fener household, or you're born into a Gala household, and you, like, I'm telling you, I packed red and yellow clothes with me, but Fener is blue, and they were like, you can't wear that to the game, you won't be let in. Like, it's that deep. No, it's like that intense. You're not allowed to bring like lipstick into the game, because they'll light it on fire and like throw it there, and like coins, they check for that too. It's intense. Wow. And so they have like a structure that you are birthed into this type of club and you follow it your whole life. And so their fan bases go from like inception until death. But It's not a women's sport versus men's sport thing. It's like this is the club we love, and here are all of its teams affiliated. So you're that type of supporter. So it's structurally very, very different. Okay. The national teams are a thing too. So like, not only do you have your club, you have your country that you root for, but I will say, at least basketball speaking, it's a lot less opportunity all across the board. It's so like, that would be like if USA only had Team USA. So it would cut a lot of opportunity for the vast majority to play. I mean, or if it's like a club, so like say the New York Liberty, it would be like, you are a Liberty fan, but it would be, it'd be New York basketball, right? And so you would be, now they're owned by Brooklyn, you would be a Brooklyn Nets fan, an Islanders fan, a Liberty fan, and it would all fall under that bucket. So that's the structural difference, not to get too like technical about it.
No, that's interesting, because you have people People jump teams in the U.S. They don't even stick with the same team half the time.
That is not the case. They said you will not wear that. When I tell you Finner got me clothes, they were like, you can't wear that. And I was like, this is intense. And a lot of the home games, they don't allow away fans there because of how violent it gets. Like people throw things. People light things on fire. It gets really intense. And people don't realize that for the European style of play, an international play, but it's intense.
That's no joke.
They have more of a loyal fan base.
Yeah.
Loyal is understatement.
That's like a gang. That's like the international gang. Like we jumping you in and you this color for life.
Okay, period. They said you came up here in this red. Okay.
That's crazy though. When you think about it, because and you're kind of like limited to just that. Like there's no other options. Otherwise, we are not claiming you ever again.
Yeah, you're a Finner soccer fan or football fan. You're a Finner basketball fan. You're a Finner handball fan. Like it's like
wow.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
it's very different.
Okay, so let's rewind a little bit. So let's talk about like your career path. So when you graduated, what did you dive into, and like what was that experience like?
This is about to take you on a whirlwind, right? Because so I started off at UNC Charlotte, dropped out of school, didn't tell my parents at all. Just was like, hey, I'm moving to New York. I'm going to model. So I was a fashion model for a while. My mom was like, that's cute. Drop back in. So I dropped back into NC State and I was a cheerleader there. And then I went to Oxford and then I went back to modeling. So this is me 34 pounds heavier and I'm happy with the way I am. And I no longer do fashion modeling. That's for sure. But I was a fashion model probably up until 2015. And in 2014, I actually went to a Liberty, Connecticut Sun game to support. A couple of my friends played pro, so I went to support. And I saw that they had cheerleaders. Mind you, I was a cheerleader my whole life. And so I was like, I want to cheer for them. That seems great. And I reached out to the director of entertainment. She was like, I think you need to do the Knicks first. And I was like, that's not what I asked you. But I ended up doing a full season of the Knicks first. And then was able to be on the cheerleading squad for the Liberty, which was called Torch Patrol. And so when I was at Torch Patrol, again, I have a lot of friends that were in the league. So I would meet them at their hotel rooms and record interviews on my phone because I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I just noticed that they didn't get their story told. Like, mind you, I'm coming from the Knicks, so I see how many media members there are in the Knicks and how big those press conferences are. And then I go to the Liberty. This is back when they were in Madison Square Garden. So this is the world's most famous arena. Top 144 athletes coming in and out of it because the league is only 144 players. 3 media members. It was Erica Ayala, Doug Feinberg, and Howard Megdal. And I remember they'd be lined up. And it was really sad to me because I'm like, these are excellent athletes. But I was like, I have the connection to them. Why not record the interviews on my phone? And so I started posting them on Instagram and Twitter. And Howard Megdal actually was the one who was like, okay, if you want to be serious about this, like you can write. And so I wrote about the game. So I wrote the X's and O's of the game. So I did NCAA with emphasis on ACC was my beat because I'm an ACC baby. My dad went to Duke. I went to NC State. But I focused on the ACC. And so I wrote about the X's and O's of the game to prove my expertise. But then whenever my friends would come into town, I would record them. And Bleacher Report ended up finding me. And then that's how HighlightHER came into fruition. So I know it's like a weird pathway. Went from modeling to professional cheer to talking to my homies to you know what, but
I feel like if you think about it, you always did things where you followed your heart. Like you always went into things that you truly wanted to do. And like that's how this ended up coming about because you just didn't do things because you wanted to. You did things because you loved it. And I loved it
and I'm led to it. And I think that when people act on passion and are successful with it, I was telling Tia that there has to be like some form of like delusional about you that like doesn't accept things that can't be exactly how you want them to be. Yeah. And so I never did I think that it wouldn't work out. I didn't know the magnitude of it. That's for sure. Yeah. I never thought that like all this stuff would come of it, but I just knew that I wanted to do it and I was going to do it because the alternative is not doing it, and that's not serving me, and that's not serving women's sports. So I had that delusional optimism, that delusional, it's gonna work mentality.
Speaking of going to work, we want to congratulate you on being named as an honoree for Forbes 30 Under 30.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is so fantastic. Like,
look, my last year of eligibility, because I was 30 when I was
but you was
30 years old.
You get it right on in there. That's
so
awesome.
I was like, the first year of me getting nominated, and it worked. So
how did you find out?
With the rest of y'all, I woke up and my phone was blowing up.
Really?
So basically, so like in October, they tell you that you've been nominated and you have to fill out a survey. So I filled out the survey, and you don't hear anything from them at all. You just fill out the survey and let it go, and you just go about your business. When I tell you, I'm not an early riser. That is my toxic trait. I can sleep till noon if I don't have an alarm. But I remember my phone blowing up in 2020. It was December 1st, 2020. And it was just like, my phone was like buzzing. I was like, this is weird because I don't talk to nobody. I'm very much like, me and my dog. But my phone was blowing up, and there was congratulations, all these graphics and things like that. And I was like, whoa. So I found out after everybody else found out. But they tell you you're nominated in October, you fill out a survey, and then you find out literally with the public.
That's crazy.
That is awesome, though.
Like,
it was joyful.
Were you rubbing your eyes like, is this it?
I was like, no, immediately it was the Beyonce lyric. There's a lot of brown children on the Forbes list that kept running through my head. I was like, look at me and Beyonce. But that's what went through my head. That's what went through my head. But I was like, because when you move to a different state and you are in an unconventional role, and your parents are like, what do you do? And you don't really know how to tell them. And you've just kind of been a free spirit your whole life. I was finally like, look, Linda and Brett,
I did this.
Here you go.
This is all you need to show.
I still can't explain it, but here you go.
That's dope.
Look, put this on your mantle.
I just can't. So did you celebrate? Did you do anything once you found out? Like what, because once you woke up to all the missed calls, to reading everything, how did you celebrate yourself?
I should probably unpack this because I never let my highs get too high. I get really low, but I don't, I stay pretty even kill. So I was like, yay. And I was like, thank God, and prayed, but then I went about my business. But yeah.
Oh, okay, so
wait
why
a
is that?
minute.
Why?
Yes. You know what?
Because
Tell
on
it to
one
ask
hand,
her.
I know. Well, we're unpacking here, but
Yep.
Look at my therapy session. I love this one.
No. Because Atoya, you popped in when I was asking her about being, because she said whatever the most outlandish goal is, that's what she's shooting for, right? Like checking the boxes kind of thing. And to have that confidence like that is amazing, and it's also kind of rare. But when you are like achieving these amazing things, it don't sound like you're staying present to be like, yeah, I really did that shit.
Confidence has never been an issue for me, but being present is, because I'm so forward looking. And so it's not anything that's not, I value myself. I'm very confident in what I do. I'm very confident in myself. But when you have that type of delirium, and when you have that type of energy towards your passions, and you have checklists of things, you kind of check it and keep it moving. And so I think my goal of 2023, and this is what I told Ebony too, we had a nice little dinner, and I want to be able to celebrate myself and find ways to really feel fulfilled within the checklist, and not just okay, got that, let's keep going,
let's move on.
Because I'm like, I got Forbes, where's my Emmy? And that's the type of person I am. So maybe figuring out how to be still and really, really enjoying those moments along the way, because it's something to be said. Like, before you get it, you're like, oh my God, this is like the creme de la crop. Like, it's great. And then you get it and you're like, okay, what's next? And I don't ever want it to be a what's next. I remember when Chesley, God bless her soul, took her life, and she wrote that, was it Marie Claire article? Maybe Allure. But she was saying how it gets kind of numb when you keep just checking and it's like the world kind of disposes of you by 30. And I'm like, I don't want that to be me. And so I'm making sure I'm doing conscious things to like not be that way, because I'm I'm not in that mentality, but I do recognize that there should be forms of celebration when it comes to your goals being met.
And listen, Absolutely. And it's not even about like just celebrating you, or being comfortable or uncomfortable, but there's so many people that are so proud of you, that are so inspired by you, that want that moment to live. You're not just doing for yourself, you're blessing so many others, right? That are sharing in that. And they're like, okay, she's made me want to go out and do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a beautiful thing. It's like, it's all encompassing, if that makes sense. And so, you should definitely remember. Listen, we're gonna throw Ari a party.
I think that my moment of like pouring back into people though was my Wilson ball drop, because I was able to fly my friends in for like my childhood friends. I have the same best friend since '96. Like, it's like a whole thing.
I love that.
I do too. I love it.
But I was able to get all of my closest people together in one roof and just celebrate. Like, my ball is right here, and like, it's a map of Raleigh on the side of it, right? They're maps of Raleigh. It has my favorite scripture on the bottom. It has my high school, my college, everything like that.
I love that.
That's so dope.
And it's a collaborative ball. It's a special edition Wilson WNBA ball that has my name on it. And so I was able to really sit down and give back to the community and embrace that moment. So that was probably my moment, more so than a Forbes list, even though the Forbes list was like, I was like, I was lit. But the Wilson ball drop was more representative of everything I stand for. It's to celebrate women and non-binary athletes, and you can define yourself as you are with the "we are" this written on the ball. So it brought a lot of the community together.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, tell us your favorite scripture on there. You kind of went through that real quick. What's your favorite scripture?
It's Romans 8:31. If God's for me, who can be against me?
Against me. I love it.
Come on, somebody.
You already know.
You are so inspiring. Okay. Seriously.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Tia, you can go ahead. I heard you say okay.
No. I was still on this moment of celebrating and really staying present. Because I think even for myself personally, like, I don't do, to your point, it's like, okay, well, I got there, and then, okay, well, what's the next phase? That chapter 2, or it is chapter 2, or next level up, or whatever. But what always rings true to is my husband. He went from 0-16 rookie year in Detroit, first team to ever do that, to it's literally the first year we get to Seattle winning the Super Bowl. And fast forward to retirement, he's like, we did some crazy stuff, like in terms of like accomplishments and stuff, and like making it to these levels that a lot of players can still 10, 12 years in the game still striving for. And he was like, and I don't even remember half of those experiences. And so when I think about just like, life is already hard enough, and you already gonna have enough obstacles and everything else. So when you are checking shit off that list and you are reaching, like, no, I'm gonna celebrate every one of these. Like,
you know me, I'll throw a party. You don't know. Tia knows.
Come on, party.
I'm like, listen, what you do?
I one of your parties.
Where we going? Where we going? We go to dinner. We celebrate. I'm that person. I feel like everything you do, you don't have to be pompous about it, and you don't have to like be bigger than the moment, but just celebrating what you do, because it kind of propels you into the next thing, and it just brings so many people along with you. I think my friends used to call me Party Planner Barbie, because I love to celebrate.
We still call you Party Planner Barbie.
You still do.
Okay.
I love that. I love that your friends have you for that, because like I have a Monica McNutt in my life who will tell me, hey, Ari, you need to rest. And so, us as Black women especially, we have to hold each other accountable for the things we preach. I can't preach self-care. I can't preach, excellence and everything like that if I'm not tending to myself. So I recognize that, and I plan to do better. But like, I'm thankful that I have my tribe to be like, hey girl, you've been working nonstop for probably about 480 days. It's time to take a break. It's time to celebrate yourself. It's time. Yeah. And so I think that's the next step in excellence, and owning your excellence and owning your confidence, is to be able to relax and be confident in the stillness, and to make sure that you don't have to work too much. Like Taylor Rooks did an interview with somebody and was like, I know if you're a Black woman in a high place, that you have to be excellent. Like, you are way more excellent than people are putting on, because for you to be able to get there, we're against so many things, and so
Yep.
I need to recognize that and just sit my butt down.
And it's hard for us because you think like if you rest for a moment, somebody else might come in, or you might miss something, and you really are. But it's all in your head. But you're right. Like sometimes you have to make. I'm the same way. I have to make myself. Tia knows. I have to make myself.
And see, mine isn't even the mentality of like somebody coming in, because that's the goal. The goal is for more people to eat, right? The goal is for all of us to eat. Mine is like, okay, if we take a break and let up the gas with women's sports, I don't want it to be ignored. And that's what freaks me out. It's like, if I take a week off, are these games going to get, amplified the way they should, or enough? Because we have people who are doing it, but it's like the audience that I cater to, I'm wondering, are they underserved if I do step back? And that's where I'm coming from, because the goal is for everybody to eat. The goal is for
that's so good.
Chelsea Miller was telling me. Chelsea Miller is a brilliant mind. Y'all should know her. Y'all should listeners. Y'all should know Chelsea Miller. When Chelsea Miller speaks, we listen. She's an organizer. She does a lot with social justice. But she was talking to me about scarcity mindset, and I want to make sure that people don't have that when they consider resting. I feel the pressures of upholding women's sports, but like as far as allowing people to enter in the space, the whole point is to grow it so that people can enter into the space. So anybody out there who is a hard worker, know what you're driven by. Like I know I'm driven by the growth of women's sports, and it really, really does you service to really explore what your why is and to remove yourself from the center of that why, so it can be sustainable. You won't feel that double down pressure on it being like something you have to succeed in because of your liveliness.
That's good. Will really good. I think about New York too. New York is just nonstop. The hustle and bustle in New York.
Child, yes.
They will work you and when you fall down, they'll just keep walking. Like it never ends. So, you think about what you're saying and how hard it is. And there's also that mentality behind you, pushing you along, right? This, well, come do this. We're coming over here. Well, I'm telling you, New York never sleeps.
It never sleeps. That's why I moved to Jersey. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Real talk. You have to find a way to turn it off. And for a lot of people, it's Jersey for sure.
All right. You ready to play a little game, Toya?
Yes, we're going to play the 2-minute drill. You ready? So the 2-minute drill is basically this, that, or the other. So we're going to ask you a this or that question, or it'll be a fill in the blank question, and you just have to just tell us what pops in your head.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we're going to start here. You ready, Tia?
Yep.
It starts off easy, so you'll feel it. Okay. Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok.
Ooh, good to know.
Your go-to meal?
Lentil soup. I'm vegan, y'all. I'm vegan.
Oh,
Please
I didn't realize that. Okay.
I love lentils.
Like, wait, what?
It started at Oxford because I couldn't eat the fish and chips, and so they had lentil soup in the cafeteria all the way. So,
have you always been vegan?
In 2009, I had to go on a 1,200 calorie vegan diet because back then they didn't like models who had muscles, so I couldn't work out, and so I had to drop weight really fast. And when I tried to put meat back in my system, my body violently rejected it. So,
wow,
we never suggest a 1,200 calorie vegan diet because it's terrible, and I miss fish and chicken every day.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna have to talk about that. That's a whole.
13 years, girl. 13 years of this suffrage. Why would anybody choose this? This is terrible.
So no seafood at all. You can't have like
Now I try to have salmon like back in 2015, and it felt like somebody was carving me from the inside. I was like, never again. It's not even worth it.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, reality TV or sports?
Sports.
That's an easy one. We should have switched that up a little bit.
Eat out or eat in?
I don't know how to cook. I don't even know how to boil water. So eat out every day of my life.
Okay, we're going to circle back to this vegan.
No, we don't need to. It is what it is.
She's like, don't stress me out talking about it. Okay.
I don't know how to do nothing in no kitchen.
The UK or the US?
I'm just free healthcare is a thing. I really like I'm gonna say US because it's home, and I just feel like I'd be fraud if I didn't say it. But UK is lit. It's popping.
It sure is.
Yes, literally my favorite place. Introvert or extrovert?
I am extremely introverted, and people don't know that about me because I can be performative. I use the extroverted traits as a job, so I am able to carry the energy of the room because that is my job to do. But I am very much an introvert.
You are my husband. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. You are him. He see a camera. He's like, ooh. An introvert. But at home, he's like, none of that.
Put me on a stage, like a stadium stage, before you put me into like a party or a small gathering without a +1. Like, I am mortified. And I feel so drained.
We should have started with the 2-minute drill because I am dying right now.
Mentally exhausted leaving these social circles.
It's so terrible. I will stand in the corner unless I'm hosting it. Then I'll be all in everybody's face. Anyway.
That is hilarious. Okay, favorite WNBA team.
Oh, you trying to get me got.
I told you it's going to get harder. Come on.
You trying to get me got. I grew up loving the Sparks. So I grew up loving the Sparks. But I don't know if I'm a Sparks girl, if I was a Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker girl. That's very
everybody was though. Everybody was.
So now I would say Chicago Sky.
She just went from one team to two different
because Candace is now Chicago.
Yeah. I get it.
So,
I know.
Where Candace goes. That's my loyalty to Candace Nicole Parker.
Okay, so another hard one. Diana Taurasi or Sue Bird?
DT. I just love her fight, but I love Sue as a person.
I thought that was gonna be hard for you. You said that too fast.
Diana.
And she gave the initials.
She got spunk.
Like, DT, say less. Okay. Tell us your favorite vacay spot.
Any parts of Mexico outside of Cabo, because I don't like Cabo's waters. But anywhere on Riviera Maya, Tulum area, I love there. Because let me tell you, it has a tropical situation without the bugs.
That part, them mosquitoes be eating you up.
I know. I just got back from St. Martin and it just felt like my whole leg was just swollen because of bugs. Mexico gives you that cuteness without the bugs.
Okay, single or in a relationship?
That is my business. That's my business.
That is my business. All right. Well, here's a simple one. What's on your Christmas list?
You know what's crazy? This isn't that simple to me because I'm not without anything. And so I have no idea. Maybe a Starbucks gift card. I drink about a gallon of coffee a day, which is kind of problematic, which is kind of costly because though I have an espresso machine, I still will pay $7 for my drink at Starbucks 3 times a day. So $21 a day goes to Starbucks, and that's really mortifying to think about.
But the Nespresso machine kind of lit though. It give you a Starbucks
I know it
feel.
is, but it's not, but you know what?
It's not
you know
the
what I want for
same.
Christmas? You know what I want for Christmas? I want a Starbucks partnership.
Ooh.
That's what I want for Christmas.
Hey, that's when you need to put the
Okay.
I was watching a TikTok where this guy was basically nice to somebody in Starbucks that was having a hard time. And there was a Starbucks exec in it was airport location. And it was like, you know what? Thank you for being so nice to my team here. It was like a lifetime Starbucks gift card that he was like, I literally just have to scan it and I get 1 free drink every day.
God, I see what you're doing for people.
Okay.
I see what you're doing for others. Do you know how much that I would benefit from that?
Girl.
Do you know how much money a year I would save? I spend $21 a day on Starbucks, y'all. Like, it's no exaggeration. It's wild.
That is hilarious.
Okay, so what is next for Ari?
I want for me to not have to punch down these walls. So what's next for me is doing exactly what I do now, storytelling with women's sports and culture, but with more buy-in from people. Because a lot of times people get caught up in what I've achieved, like the lists and the awards. So everybody's there to hand clap it, but it's really a grind, and I want more of relaxation and letting my work speak instead of me having to beat down these walls and people clap when it looks good.
Every time.
That's good.
So I want a long form show on a major network just talking to athletes. And an Emmy. If I don't get an Emmy in 2023, I swear. Like literally,
let's go.
I'm a vision board kind of girl. So every year I have a vision board and I write down and everything has happened every year for me, except for this Emmy. But it's nobody's fault but my own, because I missed the submission deadline last year because of I was dealing with a lot of other things within work and managing people and everything.
Yeah.
I want that Emmy. I got my little Webby. Me and Issa Rae got a little Webby last year, so that's cute.
I know that's right.
Speak it into existence. 2023.
I'm going to get an Emmy.
Yes, 2023. Period. Point blank. The end.
That's right.
In a couple months, y'all going to see me posing like this. It's going to be in my ass.
So listen.
Side by side.
If people want to get a hold of you once you win this Emmy, where do they find you?
I'm glad you said once I win it, because it's gonna be this year. Ari Ivory on every social media platform, including like LinkedIn and Facebook, like every social media platform. I was taught my freshman year of college, before Instagram even existed, that when these new social media platforms open up, keep a consistent name throughout all of them so you're easy to find. It's just, even if you know that there's like a social media platform about to be built, hop on it, even if you don't plan on using it, and grab your username. So I am Ari Ivory on everything.
Ari Ivory, I heard it. Find her there.
That is great. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Ari.
Thanks, y'all.
Listen, you are so inspiring. Yes, you're so inspiring, and we just appreciate all that you're doing. And please let us know if there's anything that we can do in any way, shape, or form. We want to be there to support as well. So we appreciate you.
Keep me close for Super Bowl, y'all. I think
Are
I'm
you
gonna be out
there?
Girl, yes.
Boom, you're here.
Latanya reached out to me about that brunch, and I said, yes, ma'am.
Yes, let's go. Okay, we got you. All right, we got you.
Yes.
We putting that. Listen, I'm putting her on this right now. We'll send you all the info.
Look.
We get to kiki together in real life.
We get to kiki in person.
Yes, finally.
Love it.
And hang. We're going to hang, y'all. Listen,
Period.
Arizona sunshines.
The girlies are out, okay? The girlies are going to be out.
We're going to have some equity there, okay? We're going to have some equity in Arizona.
Legit.
I love it.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I had so much fun with Ari. She is a firecracker. I just loved it.
Listen, she is one. She's freaking hilarious, but two, she's been able to accomplish like some pretty dope things in the specifically in the area of women's sports. And look, I can't wait to have her on, and I can't wait to congratulate her on this damn Emmy.
Let's go get that Emmy, girl. She is.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's our show. For the latest on the Inside Lines podcast, make sure to follow us on Inside Lines Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook.
And be sure to check out our website at insidelinespodcast.com, and also our YouTube channel at Inside Lines Podcast as well.
Y'all click, follow, holla. Until then, leave it all out on the field. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.